GPD XD. Just to reiterate some facts, it is running a ARM Cortex A17. So that's its CPU. It's clocked at 1.8. However, when I run benchmarking in 3D Mark, it's actually clocked at 1.2. So I'm thinking that they've underclocked it. And I'll bring that up real quick. Alright, hey everybody, and after a couple of days of testing, this is the overview of whether this device is really good. As you saw in the first part, it's basically a Game Boy SP clone, so clamshell design and an Android interior, a very Nintendo, or very much like a Nintendo clone body. The power underneath the shell, the CPU is a ARM Cortex A17, clocked at 1.8 gigahertz. GPU is a ARM Mali T764 3D graphics acceleration chip. The GPU is actually a really nice chip. It's not like top end, but it's midline, so it's really good. The 1.8 gigahertz is where I have the issue. If we go to the 3D Mark test, and we're going to go to the monitoring data, as you can see, I'm going to actually take off the FPS, so the detailed graph. Okay, so you can see those right there. I'm going to take off FPS, battery charge, temperature, and marker. I'm going to leave the markers on real quick. So as you can see, we have CPU usage and CPU clock, and I'll leave the images down below. But as you can see, blue and purple are CPU gigahertz and CPU average usage. It just barely got over 1.2. So as you can see, it's good. It's at 1.2. It's standard. It's like any low-end phone or decent phone. It's just like 1.2 gigahertz. It never got over 1.2 except for right over here. So it may be a 1.3, maybe 1.3. You may be able to overclock it. I haven't tried that. FPS though was really good at about 30-40 FPS. It did kind of go under on the extreme. So Ice Storm Extreme, and then we had a physics test. It actually did pretty well on that. So average is about 30. So the score, we have a graphics test. The FPS graphics test 1 is about 38. Graphics test 2 is about 25. The physics test is 42. It's running Android 4.4.4. And I got a 7796. So not a bad device, just something with where if it says 1.8, I really want 1.8 without overclocking it. It's a CPU up to 1.8 gigahertz, A17, Mali T764, 2 gigs RAM, the Rock chip RK3288, and a 720 screen, and a 6,000 milliamp battery. It's actually a really good battery. Okay, so we're actually going to go into this multi-touch setup. So we're going to go into one of my demos. and this is, one second. We have a map button right there, and it lets us map out the entire screen. I actually like this, and this is a wee bit better than the WikiPad, which had something very similar. So you just drag stuff all around. Say I want it back over there, and I just hit save, and boom, and then I can move around. And if I were to want to play a different game, this thing actually has a home button. So we go to the home button. I want to play a game. I want to play World of Tanks. And then this loads up. Alright, hey everybody, so this is going to be the second part of the video to where I tell you if it's good or not. I just want to get some specs out of the way. This thing has 2 gigs of RAM, runs 4.4 Android, and has a Rock chip RK3288 in it. I run the regular basic bench test on this thing, and it has an IPS LCD screen. Micro SD, we're going to go to benchmarks, my device, extreme ice test. It did a 7796. CPU kind of clocked out at 1.2, so not the 1.8 that was said. Graphics test 1 was 38 FPS, graphics test 2 was 25.2, and the physics test was 42, so actually an overall a really nice test. It never really got warm in the hands. The controls are actually really good. It has a mapping control that is really nice, and I'll zoom in on that. So you can have mode 1, mode 2, disable some buttons, move them around. I haven't had too much trouble actually. It's more like just getting used to it. The actual controls are really nice. I'm not a person who plays like Xbox controller games or anything like that, so I really don't. I prefer mouse and keyboard. However, I got to playing FPS games quite quickly, and I've been playing these type of games. So Dungeon Hunter 5, Modern Combat 5, Shadowgun, Nova plays really good on it. World of Tanks, Real Racing. Some people reported internet connection issues. A couple times it will seem like it's having issues, but other times it'll act better than my phone when connecting to the internet. Also, this is a custom, not custom, but a skin mod from Google Play. So if we go over to not the Play Store, but settings, I can show you what skin mod I'm using. It's called Smart Launcher, and it has 2 other, Launcher 3 and Metro. I like there's one, I think it's Launcher 3 that I like, but I like Smart Launcher better. Overall, on stuff that you should know, you're going to need the micro SD, and you can actually transfer stuff. I would suggest that you actually move stuff to the SD card slot. It does not have a default transfer files to SD card slot. You're actually going to have to do that. So you have to actually select the files and move them, or get a program to do that, and I'll put that in the my written reviews, which I highly suggest you do, because I'll be putting some stuff in there that I don't have in the video. Overall, I really like the device. For $150, it is a really good device. This is a kind of a dedicated Android gaming device. It's not like a tablet to where it's an overall all-around stuff. You can do other stuff with it. It's just more like this is a gaming actual Android device. But overall, it's actually one that was done very well, and I really like it. So hopefully you guys, you enjoyed this review. If you have any questions, put them down below. This was a review more out of a game developer perspective. I'm an indie game developer with Nintendo and some other platforms, and from a gaming perspective, this is a really, really, really good device that I hope they keep and improve. So I'll see you guys later.